Hey, welcome to, midnight screenings.
It's so strange. It's the end of the world.
No, we're doing this from that part of Alaska where it gets daylight for 24 hours a day at some point of the year.
You're just so
Sure.
pleasant, you light up the world.
Yeah. They actually did do a pre-screening of this, but we just couldn't get enough people to go to the movies last night, so instead Jillian and I are seeing this at, like 1 in the afternoon.
Oh, I wonder how long that movie was.
The website said an hour and 50 minutes,
Okay.
but...
It started at 1:20 and it is 3:26.
Okay. And I don't know if that also factored in the Monsters University short that was in front of it. This was okay.
I liked it a lot.
You liked it? I didn't like it a lot. I liked it. Don't get me wrong. It's a likable movie. It's hard to be grumpy at something like this, but if
I know I laughed more than you did.
you did, but I laughed. I laughed. It's okay. It's a little much in a lot of places.
How so?
If the Muppets that came out,
The Jason Segel
one, if the Muppets that came out a couple of years ago was Casino Royale, this is Quantum of Solace. And I liked Quantum of Solace. Like that, but a lot of people hate that fucking movie, but I liked it, but it wasn't Casino Royale.
So you think that the first reboot, you can't say the first movie because it's like the eighth one, which they've done they did a tongue-in-cheek reference to. I don't know. Maybe it's because I haven't seen the Jason Segel one in a while. I kind of like this one better.
Did you really?
I think so because it was more focused around the classic Muppets, and the music, I think, was a lot more upbeat and likable. They didn't have the fucking rap. But
Well, no, it didn't have that.
And they had a chorus line reference, and there was a lot more stuff for the Shawshank Redemption stuff. I mean, there was a lot more stuff for adults to get that kids wouldn't. And
I thought the other one was like that too.
I don't know. I enjoyed it a lot, maybe because of the music, or I don't know.
This movie. Nothing about it pissed me off or anything like that. It is a likable film, but in terms of the music, there was one too many goddamn musical numbers in this movie.
See, I love musicals.
I do too. I don't hate musicals, but when you're like 20 minutes into this movie and there's been like 5 musical I'm not saying the music in the movie was bad. The music, when it was going on, it was fine. The song at the beginning of it about sequels was really clever. The meta humor in this movie was very funny. That's when it was at its strength, was when it was doing very meta humor about it being a sequel, about about
Those
the plot,
usually
and
suck, and
about the obviousness of the plot and stuff like that. And when they're in the Siberian prison that looked straight out of Ilsa, Tigress of Siberia, and one of the prisoners is Danny Trejo, and they call him Danny Trejo. That was funny. The meta humor.
Wasn't it, right?
Yeah, which is kind of funny because wasn't he in Muppets in Space?
I think so.
There was one of them he was
yeah.
in. So yeah, it's a prison of character actor. That was kind of funny, but
I really need this job supposed to be like meta? Like those two actors really needed a movie job because he was the only one that sang it, and Tia Fey was the only one that sang those lyrics.
Tina Fey was smoking hot in this movie.
She's always good looking.
Oh, she is. But I was like, wow, I want to see a remake of Ilsa, Tigress of Siberia with Tina Fey in it. She could really pull that off.
She did a great job.
Yeah,
the
acting's fine, and the musical, the music itself is fine. It's just that, again, when you're about a half hour in, and here's the 5th musical number, I was sitting there like, when the music started, I was sitting there like, this movie's an hour and 50 minutes long because it's got like 5 too many musical numbers in this thing.
Because the first one didn't have enough.
The first, what?
The Jason Segel one didn't have enough, so they were making up for it.
That's my thing about this movie, is that it takes stuff that was pretty good in the reboot and multiplied it by so much to the point to where it was just a little excessive, especially in the cameos in this. It got to a point where I was like,
cameos.
oh right, enough. there was a point where in like a 20-second period of time, I think there was like 5 different cameos. Like,
and just like seconds where it's like, hi, I'm
seconds
handing
apart
flowers,
from each
and some of
other.
the
Like,
people I don't
oh
even
my
know.
God, like, okay, there's Chloe Moretz, and 2 seconds later, oh God, there's Stanley Tucci. Like, for
Where's
no
an usher?
reason.
I'm an usher.
Oh, that's when this
You didn't
series
see that coming?
jumped the shark in terms of cameos. When they're at a wedding at the end and they say, "Are you the usher?" and the guy turns around and it's Usher. For no, there were cameos
Just for
in
a pun.
this where there were cameos in this where there was not a sense of any kind of irony or any kind of joke. It was just, okay, there's Celine Dion because it's
I
Celine
could have done
Dion.
without that, and the Usher ones were the only two that were
Zach
just
Galifianakis, and the Josh Groban thing at the end where they built up like this.
I was like, who is in that thing? It's gonna be somebody
They
famous.
built that up, and then it's Josh Groban. I thought it was going to be, if I were to guess, I thought it was going to turn out to be Neil Patrick Harris, because why not? But no, it was Josh Groban at the end. And look, I mean, I know it sounds like I'm complaining a lot about this, but it is it is a likable film. The whole thing about how, like, it's blatantly obvious that that's not Kermit the Frog, but the only person that gets it is Animal. That was funny. Animal's funny in this.
That frog.
The parts where they're calling attention to the fact that it's a movie and that the other one was a movie.
Oh, and
the
it
meta
starts with
humor
the
in it.
end, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
let's go, and then it...
That was kind of funny because it was obviously a Chris Cooper stand-in standing there with next to the girl. And also in this about with
Chris Cooper was in it in the end?
when the movie first starts and it looked like it was
Right, I thought that was supposed to be Jason Segel.
was it? Okay. From the back it looked more like Chris
Because
Cooper.
I think it was supposed to be Jason Segel and Amy Adams. because it
Okay,
was
so
just
that
from
makes
behind.
sense. That makes sense.
I was like, Chris Cooper, wait.
Okay, yeah. It's been 2 years since I
But
saw the
anywho,
other
people
one.
were, yeah.
And when the thing about Walter, like when they were saying Walter left? Wow, we spent the whole last movie building him up.
The whole movie based around him joining
Based around
us.
him at the expense of other more established characters.
And then you've got Rizzo the rat, and then what's
Rizzo
the little
and
mini...
the mini I can't
frog?
remember his name. The tiny
Yeah,
frog.
the one that did a duet with Kermit. In the
Yeah.
song.
That was
And they were
funny.
like, hi.
That was funny. I mean, Walter certainly felt shoehorned into this movie.
Well, here's the thing is, I wasn't a big fan of Walter, so I kind of liked that they focused more on the Muppets, and it was less about the human actors in this one. I mean, obviously, Ricky Gervais had the
Is the
main
bad
role
guy.
because he's, the number 2 bad guy. But other than that, it was more about the Muppets, and you got to see more of the... everybody that you know versus, hi, here's this new Muppet and Jason Segel, and they're going around everywhere trying to get the Muppets back together.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a little more of that in this. I just didn't think this was as funny of a movie. And Walter played great off of Jason Segel. Those two were a great team together. And in this, without Jason Segel, Walter being there felt a little...
He joined at the end of the
I
movie,
know
so
he
he's
did, and
like
I'm
a
not saying
family.
he shouldn't have been there, but I'm saying his presence there is a little awkward considering how the Muppets already have a straight man, and that straight man is Kermit the Frog.
Basically, Walter's purpose is that he's such a super fan, he was the one to finally get it that that's not Kermit and piece it together. That's his only purpose, really.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
It is, but without Jason Segel to play off, I'm not saying his character is unlikable. I'm just saying his scenes felt a little awkward. Without Jason Segel there to play off of him, and I guess their disappearance is explained by the fact that the first one was just a movie. But
that
Jason
makes it even
Segel.
creepier that he's got a Kermit watch on. It's like, that would be like if one of us was wearing a Brad watch and we're like,
Jason Segel's absence from this movie is, I don't know. I wish he had something to do with this movie. I do.
I
felt
think
like
they did well for a sequel. Like,
I don't think
was
it's
a
bad.
Great sequel.
I don't think it's a great sequel.
In accordance to other movies that have sequels that do that way, as a sequel, it holds up, like, well. You wouldn't be like, oh, well, it's a sequel, you know, what to expect.
I mean, no, I mean, it's not bad. It has enjoyable parts to it. If you see it, you're not going to have a bad time. But I think that if Jason Segel was still part of this movie, it would have been a better movie for it.
The prior Muppet movies, they never really had the same cast, and they always had...
they didn't.
They always had cameos, but like he said, this one was really shoehorned in.
The thing is that this one feels more like a sequel than the other Muppet movies do. This is, again, to call back to Quantum of Solace, this does feel like a sequel to the previous movie.
They did nods to the other movies. Did you notice that?
I did.
The Great Muppet Caper at the beginning with the swimming and all that.
They do, and then singing together again at the end of it. That was fun. This movie, more than the other Muppet movies, does feel like a sequel. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's why I'm...
Because they keep referencing the first one.
It isn't just because of that. It does feel like it's the first one of these movies that's a direct sequel to the other one.
It's made to be that way.
I know it is, but because of that makes it perfectly appropriate to compare it to the other movie, as opposed to one of the other ones where they're all together, sure, but they are all kind of their own movies. The Great Muppet Caper is its own movie compared to Muppets Take Manhattan. Whereas in this particular case, it's perfectly logical to compare this to the last movie.
Well, I just meant that's why I didn't miss Jason Segel's presence, and I love Jason Segel.
I do too. And if you don't like Jason Segel, you might like this movie a lot better than the other one.
But I still really like it. And again, it could be because it's been quite a while since I saw the Jason Segel one, but I really enjoyed it. And I do agree with you, thinking of all the songs, there's two that I would take out, and that was the Celine Dion, at least the part, like that was okay to kind of segue what they were doing together.
And the Interrogation Room song. Why did that have to be a musical number? That didn't have to be a musical number.
I would have rather had that than the one where not Kermit sings Get You Anything You Want, that was all like disco-y.
Oh, well, my soft spot for disco, I was fine with that.
Well, see, I liked the Interrogation song because it was more like classic musical with like the
but it just, to me, I was like, all right, let's move this along.
I liked it.
This doesn't, it's not that it was a bad song, it just felt unnecessary. But I'll say this, Ty Burrell is a way, way, way better Inspector Clouseau than Steve Martin.
I was gonna say there was a little Pink Panther-ish with the lemur.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys who cried foul when it was somebody else playing Inspector Clouseau other than Peter Sellers. I know Alan Arkin did it in one movie in the late 60s, early 70s, but I cried foul like somebody else playing Inspector, especially those shit movies like the Steve Martin ones.
And Steve Martin's great. It's just,
but oh my god,
that's
those fucking movies. That's an example of
where you can have an amazing actor, and no matter how great an actor they are, the movie's still shit.
Those movies, Jesus Christ! But Ty Burrell in this was really good. Him and Sam the Eagle were really good together.
That almost could have been its own little movie.
It kind of could have.
Being like a duo detective thing.
A buddy cop movie with Ty Burrell as Inspector Clouseau and Sam the Eagle.
That would be great. That should be the next one. It's just an exclusive
I'm kind of cool with that. Sure, yeah.
I am wondering because, we live in the era of everybody has sticks up their asses about violence, and the original, I was thinking it takes you out of it with the shooting and the just them
evil
having a gun.
Kermit blew up the prison at the beginning.
Yes.
I was like, wow, some people just died there. All right, that's kind of all right.
And then
I like dark humor like that.
And then the initial song, you've got the army area, and then at the end you've got the Constantine with the gun, and it's like they did that stuff in the old movies, but now we're in this era where what you could do before wasn't okay.
I was fine with all of that.
No, I'm fine. I'm just saying know that there's going to be people and be like, there's shooting and explosions in a Muppet movie.
Some of the stuff with Constantine, is that?
Yeah.
With Constantine, the evil Kermit. Some of his stuff was a little too animated for my taste. Like, he's bouncing all over the fucking place like he's fucking...
Like Yoda and fucking...
Thank you!
clones.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. I was like, alright, this is a little goddamn much here. There was one shot that seemed
if
like...
they didn't have that part in it.
Yeah,
like, but
that
the song was
that
great,
was
other than
too
the...
much. That was like, I was sitting there, Attack of the Clones is exactly what I was thinking.
Ricky Gervais has got some pipes on him.
Yeah, he does. So that was a little goddamn much. But there was one shot that I don't know. I mean, maybe it does reference a lot of adult. It does have a lot of adult references in it. But there was one shot where he's escaping from jail that looked like it was supposed to be a reference to Old Boy. I don't know if that was the case, but
which one?
When it's the... Have you seen Old Boy?
I don't think so. I might have seen
You'd know it if you saw Old Boy.
What kind of?
There's you just have to see it. No, that's no. I think that's The Great Escape you're thinking of. That's a completely different movie than Old Boy.
Not in this theater. I don't know. Probably not then.
Old Boy has it's a long shot where it's you'd have to see it. There's a long shot in there where he's beating him with... If it's something my parents wouldn't have watched, I never saw it. Old Boy's not that old. There's a long shot where he's like beating a bunch of people with a hammer, and not that the same thing happens here, but it was like no, like when he's escaping from jail, it was like a similar camera angle and shot that they were using.
Okay, the beginning, to me that felt like the last Mission Impossible movie with Tom Cruise, where he was escaping from the inside, and the way they had the cameras and how he was like going around. That's what I took it as.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, not that in this it does it all in one take like Old Boy did, but there were a couple angles that were similar.
Yeah, that just to me felt like, because that was the last Mission Impossible, right, where it starts with him in jail and
it's playing
like,
Ain't That a Kick in the Head?
Yes, that's what I thought of with it.
This movie, granted, I will say this. A month ago, I was at the Lego Movie, which by far and away is one of the better kids movies I've seen in years. Better than Cloudy? Yeah.
Really?
I like Cloudy the Chance of Meatballs, but Lego Movie was way better. That movie is honestly it is a fucking masterpiece of kids movies.
I'll have to check it out then.
It's that fucking good, and maybe I would have warmed up to this movie a little bit more, having not quite come off of that. And even a couple weeks ago I was at Peabody and Sherman, which isn't a great movie, but a really good movie. So maybe Lego Movie made me a little more spoiled. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I would have
for you.
But it isn't like I went into this thinking it was going to be as good as the Lego Movie. I didn't have unrealistic expectations for this movie.
What were your expectations? Like, were you oh god, this is going to suck?
No, not at all. Not at all. I like the Muppets a lot. I don't dislike this movie. I didn't hate it. It's just not great. I can't justify paying like $12 to go see this movie.
If I had kids, I would take kids to see it.
If you have kids and you go see this, you are not going to have a miserable time. You're not. You're going to be just fine. But go see the Lego Movie instead. The Lego Movie is a much better movie than
Unless
this.
they don't like Legos and they really like the Muppets, then I think this one would win.
I mean,
Just say it!
I don't like these blocks, so what?
No. Like, I know people that really hate the Lego games because of the Lego cutscenes and stuff, and they just don't like animation with Legos. I was being for serious on that.
Well, those people are called communists.
Well, this does have Russians.
There you go. Yeah.
In Soviet Russia.
It has a disco scene, and it has a set that looks like Tigress of Siberia. Both things that are in Ilsa Tigress of Siberia. Like, is this whole movie an homage
The musical numbers are very eclectic genre-wise. You go from like Broadway to like a doo-wop.
Yeah.
I lost my shit when they did the chorus line thing of I really need this job instead I really hope I get it. That
was cute.
That was great. But there was no tits and ass. Tits and ass.
That would be something.
Right? Tina Fey.
Wait, I've seen that movie. That was Meet the Feebles.
I didn't see that.
Actually, I liked Meet the Feebles better than I liked this movie.
What?
Imagine. You've never seen Meet the Feebles.
Was that where the Bubbles meme came from?
That was Oogie Loves.
I don't
That
know.
is not. No.
It sounds like some stupid kids movie.
All right,
The
here's
Feebles.
no. It's okay.
Evil.
All right, let me put it to you like
HR
this.
puppet
Let me
stuff?
put it to you like this. Meet the Feebles is. I don't even know what the fuck it's.
Like Meet the Parents, but with Muppets.
No, it's if you cross the Muppets with. It's if you cross the Muppets with. I'm trying to think of a reference you would get. With. Okay, it's a very hardcore adult version of the
Like
Muppets.
Wonder Chosen, where it was like adult Sesame Street.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Or Avenue Q.
All right, you know Peter Jackson's early work, right? That he did horror movies.
Yeah, like
Peter
horror.
Jackson did Meet the Feebles. He made Meet the
Okay.
Feebles around when he did stuff like Bad Taste.
So it's a horror movie? Or horror
It's a
Muppets?
comedy. It's a comedy, but a very dark comedy. It is about a group of puppets that run a stage show like the Muppets, but it's not a porn, but it's very adult. The humor in it is hard R.
Like Avenue Q. Only
Well, okay, in this, like, there's, like, puppet nudity, there's rough violence in it, drug use, sex. It's the main puppet in it that's kind of the star of the show is this jackrabbit that gets AIDS. It has
Avenue
like
Q has a song about it.
it has okay. Then you know more about Avenue Q. Like I know Avenue Q is like a more.
Or no, well
adult,
they have the PSA of AIDS. I can't remember. No, there was a song I think. I don't
in
know.
this, there's a Vietnam flashback in this with puppets. Like it's amazing. You would love it. It is amazing. It is
You
so
have it?
good.
I want to borrow it.
Yeah, I've got Meet the Feebles.
I know what
I like that movie better than I liked this one.
When I drop you off, don't let me forget.
Okay.
I want to borrow that. 'Cause I really want
This movie, I mean, like...
But yes, we digress.
When you compare it to Muppet movies that just straight out weren't very good, like some of the made-for-TV ones, or some of the later theatrical
Muppet
ones, this is
Caper
better
will
than
probably
that.
always be my favorite. I
Mine,
love Muppet Caper.
I've got a nostalgic soft spot for Muppets Take Manhattan.
Was that the first one you ever saw?
No, the first one I ever saw was the Muppet movie, but I think when I was a kid, I watched Takes Manhattan more.
See, I watched Muppet Caper more.
okay.
The Muppet movie, the one where they're like traveling around, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I never really got into that one.
Oh, the
Maybe
first
it's
one?
just-
Oh, I like it.
I don't know, maybe because I saw the other ones and then it was like their re-meeting and all that.
Great
and I
Muppet
just
Capers.
never got that.
Yeah, Great Muppet Capers got Charles Grodin
Yeah,
in
it
it. I
does.
love Charles Grodin. Great Muppet Caper, that one's really good.
I had a nostalgic squee when they did like the swim scene at the beginning
I
of this
felt
one. I
the
was like,
same
it's the
way
Muppet
when...
Caper! And then Miss Piggy on the...
Yeah, I felt the same way when they started singing
And
together.
stuff like that, you
again
can
in
feel
this.
the love.
It's like I said, it is a likable film. It's just not a great film.
I know, I'm not saying that you hate it or anything. I just...
But
Don't judge me, I really liked it.
I'm not. It's not a bad movie. Muppet Christmas Carol's really fucking good.
I did not like Muppet Treasure Island, but that's only because I went to a school where every fucking movie day, they showed Treasure Island, and then they started showing Muppet Treasure Island. Like, it was
Oh.
like a track and field day that they would have every year. And,
You were getting the
once
battery
again, I'm in
sign
one
or
that we can't talk about the
something.
previews.
Oh, whatever.
Paddington Bear, which I don't even hardly remember anything about that other than, like, he had galoshes and walked around a lot. And it was claymation.
We got trailers that
Bunch of
that
kids
Jake
stuff.
and I've got before. Yeah, like bears,
Oh, see, yeah,
lemurs.
you've got
Which Ricky Gervais dressed as a Lee. That was something. That was.
That was adorable.
That's those images are gonna end up on some website.
I see cosplay opportunities. If you're like, oh, you're a furry. No, not just a furry. I am Ricky Gervais, the lemur.
The
I want
movie
those
is,
pajamas.
like I said, if you got kids and you go to this movie, you're not gonna have a bad time. It's okay. It's perfectly okay. It's fine. If you don't have kids or anything, I wouldn't say that this is worth shelving out about
Unless you
$12
really
for.
love the Muppets.
Well,
Like,
so
if
do
you were-
I.
I'm just saying there's people that like how Tina Fey
Well, then, yeah,
obsessed
you're gonna
over
see it.
Kermit. There are people
Okay,
that are
then-
obsessed over
Okay,
the
then
Muppets.
yeah, you're gonna see it regardless. Then you're gonna go see it regardless of what I have to say about it. But
don't care
it's
what you have
if you're not the type who is instantly gonna go out and see this, then you wait for a cheap seat theater to go see this.
Or matinee, or just
Yeah,
a
that's what I
few.
mean. Yeah, matinee, cheap seat. You know,
I
sure.
didn't know your lingo. Back in my day, we called it matinee.
Next
The
week
camera's about
is
to die.
next week is Noah and Sabotage
Floating around the world.
on an ark.
That's right. And then he goes all Britney
Muppet
Spears.
Noah's Ark. I want to see that.
Yes, that would be amazing.
All right, see ya.